Congressman, I saw an article out today talking about you and Ron Paul not planning to vote for Mr. Romney, Governor Romney. We're going to be getting into that as well. Also talk about your fight to try to end these wars and bring our troops home. But what is your take and what is the sense of the Congress? Because we've never seen them shut off the Iranian TV state-run media in Europe and England. I see that as one of the final signs they're getting ready to strike. What information can you give us that's not classified, Congressman? Alex,
before we came home for the October campaign, meaning before the November election, I had met with several different outside groups, meaning outside of Congress, who were concerned that there was definitely a wag the dog situation developing, and that there could be a October surprise, which you just made reference to, and that could be some type of action taken against Iran. Now, since I've been home, obviously Congress is not in Washington. I have not had any classified briefings or anything else, but I know I left Washington in early October concerned that this country might find itself being supportive of some type of military action against Iran. And, Alex, you know, I've said this many times on your show that I wish the American people would start putting pressure on Congress to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. I have the former commandant, I'm getting back to Iran in just one moment. The former commandant is a friend of mine and been my advisor on Afghanistan for 3 years, and let me explain that to your listeners. I do not have a military background, so I went to this general who I knew when he was the active duty commandant and said, General, will you advise me on Afghanistan? Because I made a mistake. We had no more business going into Iraq than I do of trying to fly myself from here to Florida without a plane. And so he said, yes. Now I'll get to the point. On September the 27th, I had reason to email him and ask another response from him regarding Afghanistan. And I'll read this very quickly to your listeners. At the end of the day, I am more convinced than ever that we need to get out of Afghanistan. When our friends turn out to be our enemy, it is time to pull the plug. The idea that troops we have trained and equipped now turn that training and equipment on us is unconscionable. Whether we leave tomorrow or 1,000 tomorrows from now, nothing will really change. We are now nothing more than a recruiting post for every malcontent in the Middle East. We need to wake up. And I don't mind telling you, I was able to arrange for this commandant to speak to Jim Talent, who is the former senator from Missouri, last week. And Jim Talent is advisor to the Romney campaign. And I told Jim that if Mr. Romney would come out next Monday night and say that I'm going to reevaluate our commitment in Afghanistan, and if at all possible, I will start bringing our troops home in 2013. I said, Jim, he will get 2 solid points from the American people. And I said, and we talked, Jim was very kind, he's a friend. And I said, will you talk to this commandant? So I know last week the commandant, retired commandant, spoke to Jim Talent for just about an hour. And the commandant called me back and said, Walter, I want you to know I've had an hour of his time. I think he understands, but whether he can get this to the top, I don't know. Why do you think when most generals and experts are saying, you know, get out of Afghanistan the last 3 or 4 years, it's been intensifying the drumbeat, why do you think Obama accelerated operations there, stirring up the hornet's nest, not just in Afghanistan, but in Pakistan? You know, Alex, that is something I don't have any information that I can give you any answer except the whole thing is we have not, for the last 20 years, had a decent foreign policy. And everything that we've done under Bush and Obama, that's why I went to the federal courts. That's why I put in the HCON Resolution 107 that you've had me on your show a couple months ago. When a president, be Democrat or Republican, decides that he knows best how to remove a dictator who might be an evil man, but he's done nothing to hurt America, and then they just send the bombs in. That's why we have so much hatred in the Middle East as it relates to America. And my dear friend Ron Paul, and I agree with him totally, anytime that you start trying to dictate to a culture that has nothing in connection at all with how we think in America, that you're going to create more problems than solutions.
Shifting gears from Afghanistan and Central Asia more to the Near East and the Middle East, it's now admitted that NATO and the West is putting al-Qaeda in. The New York Times admitted 2 days ago the main force is al-Qaeda, is being armed. We're talking about surface-to-air guided missiles being given to them, not just the stuff they got out of Libya. This is the devil's game is what I would call it. What are you told I mean, you're at the highest levels there in Congress. What is the real policy? Because I'm not saying Assad's a great guy or Gaddafi, but Assad compared to Gaddafi's a good guy, and Gaddafi compared to al-Qaeda's a good guy. There's no debate. Al-Qaeda's really nasty and bad. I feel like I'm in an alternate universe here, Congressman Jones, because why is NATO, the UN, our government helping al-Qaeda wreck Syria, where they're admittedly slaughtering Christians and others?
Alex, whatever planet you're on, I'm up there with you. I don't understand it either. I don't know, and please understand, I don't blame the American people. Many people are in financial problems. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. There are a lot of issues facing the American people. But why in the world the American people are not putting pressure on Congress? I don't even fault President Obama. I fault the Congress. Why in the world doesn't the Congress understand that the American people want us out of all these foreign countries, spend that money right here in America, rebuild our streets, rebuild our roads, our schools, and take care of people who cannot take care of themselves? And here we are borrowing money from all around the world to be the big Superman of the world, and it makes no sense.
You're right, and we're going bankrupt. We now have almost 50 million people on food stamps. Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winner, is in CNBC story today, and others saying that Europe is in a depression. We're going into one.
Yep.
What is the real sense? I mean, obviously, Congress knows we're being fed fake economic numbers. When you're there in the halls of power, what is the ruling class expecting to happen? Because we're steering towards disaster here.
Well, Alex, I'm of the firm belief that the critical year for decisions to be made to save America are going to be 2013. And with the growing debt and deficit of our nation, if we're not willing to make the tough decisions, then we're going to collapse, is what's going to happen.
That's right.
All these special interest groups in and around Washington that feed money to the Republicans and the Democrats, and I'm part of the problem, but I want you to listen carefully. I'm also trying to be part of the solution by trying to be on bills that would create alternatives to the way we finance campaigns, because the way we finance campaigns, in my opinion, cheat the people.
Well, how would you change it then, Congressman?
Well, I think the only way you can do it is to create some type of voluntary system, either voluntary public financing, where the people are not mandated to put money into an account, but they can voluntarily put money into account, have more disclosure. These third-party groups like Citizens United decision was one of the worst decisions in my adult lifetime, to allow third parties to come in here and spend millions and billions of dollars.
Well, what about the communist Chinese? Because I saw it happen even before it was news. 2 years ago, ordering Red Dawn to not come out in 2011 and editing out communist Chinese attacking and making it North Korean. I mean, I'm reading where foreign governments, it now came out, we had whistleblowers on, Amber Lyon from CNN, that foreign, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, you name it, they're actually secretly funding what's on the news on CNN. Did you know that?
I had not heard that, but Alex, the sad thing is, and you've been here for a long time, what I mean is, as a talk show host and one of the best in the country, you and I both know that I'm not surprised by anything anymore. I wouldn't have said that to you 10 years ago, but the things I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years in Washington, the lack of civility among good-thinking people and being so anti each other because we got to stay the majority, we got to raise more money than the other group. It's time for the American people to take back the government.
Wow. What is your take on the debates? I mean, even if we all know Romney is not really a true conservative or constitutionalist, the fact that they are skewing the debates, giving Obama more time every time, interrupting constantly, and Candy Crowley lying and saying that that Obama had called it a terror attack. What do you make about this whole election and concerns that there could be civil unrest either way, no matter who wins?
Well, I think that is a growing possibility, and I do want one thing that I am supporting the entire Republican ticket. The reason what I didn't do, I did not endorse Mr. Romney because I don't know where he stands on foreign policy, but I am voting for the top of Romney all the way down to our county commissioners. So
okay, so the media kind of misconstrued that. You are voting Republican ticket.
Yeah, I'm voting Republican, but
you're just not going to go cheerlead around for Romney because you don't know who he is.
I don't know. I know more Monday night as to who's advising him, and of course, if he would follow the former commandant's suggestion, I would probably be out there beating the drums all over the country for him. But we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not very optimistic.
Sure. I mean, why doesn't he come out against the Afghan operation? That would be a really good thing for him to do.
Alex, I don't know. This is what I don't know if it's the neocons who were the big advisors to Bush to get us into an unnecessary war. I don't know. I don't know the inside people with Romney. I tried to find the foreign policy type because I kept telling them I've got a way to help him win the election by getting the troops. If he doesn't do anything else, Alex, but say I am willing to look at the possibility of bringing our troops home. When you have the people you're training, that's what the commandant said, the people you're training turn the guns on you, you're their teachers, and you shoot and kill them. We've had 3 Marines from Morsock, which is in my district, Camp Lejeune. They were killed 2 months ago by the people they were training. We had a young African-American kid from right here where my district office is in Greenville, North Carolina. He and 2 of his Army buddies were shot and killed by the people they were training. I went to the wake of this young man.
Unbelievable. And it's certainly deteriorating fast. I mean, it may become a point where the troops are hanging off the helicopter skids like the fall of Saigon. That's what a lot of top brass are saying. If these politicians who just want to control the goodies coming out of the country, make no mistake, that's why they're keeping them there. Expanding on that, what did you make, sir, of Obama? This was the clearest thing we'd seen where he admitted he wants to ban semi-autos, and he went on to say that means handguns too, and he wants to just say people have mental illness extrajudicially, violating, the 68 Gun Control Act. I mean, that was very clear there. And the NRA says that they've talked to his advisors and that if Obama is elected, he's planning to sign an executive order to restrict the Second Amendment. I mean, that would cause a civil war.
Well, there's no question about it. And that, again, is why I am very concerned about any president and why I supported Ron Paul. Ron Paul believes that the Constitution is like the Bible. You believe what's said in the Constitution, and you believe what's said in the Bible. And the Second Amendment right is sacred, and it needs that will be a major fight there, maybe in the streets. I hope not in the streets. I'll make that clear, but a major fight in Congress if that should happen.
Well, they've done these breakdowns, different think tanks have, and that's why they haven't tried to totally ban guns yet, because they know when they try it, it is going to be very, very dangerous situation. And the thing is, Handgun Control Incorporated and others have said Obama has promised them that he will get the guns, quote, under the radar in the second term. So that's a declaration of war against the Republic. If it isn't bad enough, and I know you've got the bill in there to start the impeachment if it continues, God bless you, and the media, of course, didn't give it any attention, to say our military's under NATO. Now, Congressman Jones, when I read in the newspaper about dead U.S. troops, have you noticed most of the time it says NATO troops?
Yeah, and when it does, I realize that it's probably 99% of the time is an American who was killed. Because, Alex, you and I both know that the other countries are slowly pulling the troops out. And it's our young men and women that are walking the village roads and getting shot and blown up. And where is the American outrage? There was a lady that wrote, there was an article written when the 2000 American was killed. Her son, Alex, very quickly was a Eagle Scout, graduate of Annapolis. He was a young Marine officer. He was killed several months ago. And in the subtitle of this article about this lady, Miss Freeman is her name, Lisa Freeman is her son who was killed. She says, where is the outrage from the American people? Why are they willing to see young men and women die? Why are they willing to borrow money to pay a crook to stay in power?
Well, that's another question. Why are the main European, NATO, and British troops, why do they stay in the bases, and why is it almost always U.S. troops that go out and do the fighting? Since when did do these countries not fight? I mean, if they're going to be in a war.
Well, Alex, I can't speak about other countries, but I'll say this, that if they're smart enough to see that they don't need to send their young men and women to die, why are we so stupid that we do it?
I agree. That's well said. No, it's folks, we're over there to sit on top of the opium. Let's not let anybody lie about that. It was, what, 9% of world production pre-2001. Now it's 93% of world production. And that's what it's all about. It's about sitting on top of all that smack. Congressman Jones, do one more segment with us. I also want to give out your website. You've got some important press releases. I want to cover some other topics we haven't gotten into yet with you. Final segment with the Congressman.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Jones.house.gov is Walter B. Jones' excellent site. Very important press releases. Jones focuses on national debt, his bills to stop the UN running our military. Very important information. Be sure and check all that out. Also, keep the internet free from international control. We'll have to have him back up soon about that. Sir, in closing, can you repeat what you were telling me during the break, sir?
Alex, I said that any nation that was founded on Judeo-Christian values, and that's the foundation of America, any nation that forgets the words in the Bible and the words in the Constitution will fail. If you do not revere and respect the Bible and the Constitution, whatever you believe will fail.
Expand on that.
Well, I mean, I look at the fact in America that our military chaplains who are of the Christian faith have been instructed since 1990 that if they are outside the church on base, they should not close a prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. I've been working on that thing for 10 years, truthfully. I look at the fact that presidents will not even come to Congress. They would rather just have the authority to bomb another country because they don't like the dictator. So that goes from the Bible, a chaplain, to a president that does not revere or respect the Constitution. I said to the Romney people, if he would make this statement in one of the debates, that if I become the President of the United States, I, Mitt Romney, will promise you I will follow the Constitution. Because I swear to uphold the Constitution, I will follow the Constitution. Alex, that's just like Afghanistan. He would get Ron Paul's people like you and me, we would go wild to hear some president say that. They don't even say that anymore.
On the point of collapse, is there any way to avert the economic collapse that we're going into? And what will the decadent mobs of people do if the collapse gets really serious?
Well, I'm not optimistic at this point that we can withstand a collapse. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that you're wrong. But when you have a country that has to borrow money from the Chinese, the Japanese, to pay the debts of a nation, and when you're paying $1 billion a day just to pay the interest on the debt, it can't keep going on.
And I think the corrupt in government know that. That's why they're digging in, buying 1.6 billion bullets now and putting troops on the streets in different parts of the country. I mean, the system knows, and they think they're going to just, I guess, take over during the collapse, Congressman. Your take on all the massive bullet purchases?
Like any God-fearing person and a man who believes that we, the American people who are law-abiding citizens, has every right to our freedoms, I'm concerned about it.
We've only got about a minute left, Congressman. Any other points you'd like to add?
Well, I really would like to ask your listeners to please pick up the phones and call them members of Congress. Every one of them is home during this 3 weeks before the election, and tell them to, for God's sakes, bring the kids home before 2014. That's Obama's date, December 2014. How many more have to die, lose their legs, lose their arms? It's just not fair to them.
Well, they've already had other pullout dates. They're probably just going to move it down the road again.
Well, that's one of the concerns of a few Republicans and a few Democrats is that 2014 can become 2015, and before you know it, you're talking about 2016. And it can happen that way, Alex. You're exactly right. It can happen if the American people do not let their voices be heard.
Absolutely, folks. People are always asking me, Alex, do something. Folks, you got the power.
Amen.
You've got all the power. Congressman, we'll let you go, and please come back on soon to talk about your bill to allow citizens on U.S. beaches they're closing as part of their UN garbage. There's so much we didn't get into. It's all at jones.house.gov.
Alex, let's talk after the election and see where we're going.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.